gathered together from the cosmic reaches of the universe, here in this great hall of justice, are the most powerful forces of good ever assembled. Dedicated to truth, justice, and peace for all mankind.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is been a ride. We are back in town, and we're talking about The Defenders, Netflix December. Hey, did you guys enjoy it?
Yes.
Hey, did you enjoy it?
I had some issues.
Well then, I'm interrupting. Today we have the crew. We have Count right here.
Good to be back. Had a nice long hiatus. Fully rested, ready to rock.
And we're ready to go. Oh,
Who's starting?
Oh,
me to
Petey.
No, you can start. You can start since you've got
again.
nothing good to say.
I know.
I really enjoyed Elektra. I want more and more Elektra. Outside of that, there was some okay Jessica Jones stuff.
Get rid of
some
her.
good fights. But then they got caught up. Like when they went, there's like an episode like Seinfeld. Like they went in a Chinese restaurant and it gets boring and it just gets more boring and it just got too dry when they went to the Chinese restaurant. Like, why are we going to this Chinese restaurant? That's what we're saying as the audience. Why are you going in this Chinese restaurant? And then of course it gets destroyed. And like 45 minutes later of them just talking and trying to explain, no one believing. Everyone has all these weird powers. Like, what do you mean there's a dragon? What do you mean? I don't know. I can't believe that. It's like, you're made of this. You got your powers. You got this powers from a dragon. Nobody believes anything. There's also the Avengers that aren't in here, and they can't believe. No one, the cops can't believe anything. They're still going past, like what was it? What's that show? The Beverly Hillbillies. Still not understanding what the doorbell is. There's magical stuff out there. Why are they still spending all this time? Like, you're insane. I can't believe that. You're insane.
All right,
So
that's fair. Fair enough.
It dragged down the story, and then if you take it, that would make it like six episodes.
What?
Maybe it would have been better. But I liked a lot. I really like Elektra. I think Iron Fist spent a little bit too much time on the floor because he would fight, and the next thing you know, I know that Daredevil's more popular than Iron Fist, so he's gonna hit the canvas a lot more. But he was a little better and a little less wide-eyed in this. But it was okay. I just wanted more scenes of Elektra as it went along. So that's what I
bunch
get.
of scenes of Elektra at the end.
But there was
My
some,
God.
at the end, but then it was still, taking all that time going up that elevator and people just jumping, people still jumping on the elevator fighting. And like, where are they coming from?
That was cool.
Just get them out of there. And it's like, no, we can't have Power Man hold them up. We got to have Jessica Jones hold them up. But she's a hottie.
There's nothing else for her to do.
She was a hottie in this, so more of her, more
On the
of her.
team of the Defenders, Jessica Jones becomes redundant because you already have a strong man in Luke Cage. You don't really need the strong woman. And what was it? It was Madame Gao who really hit me to what was going on. Daredevil is what? He's the devil of Hell's Kitchen.
Mhm.
Okay? Danny Rand is the immortal Iron Fist. Luke Cage, hero of Harlem.
What did
And
he say?
then with Jessica Jones, she gave us something, and the woman who will not be stopped. I was like, she doesn't need to be here.
Here we go. She had
Okay?
no.
She doesn't need to be here. You could have had Colleen Wing on and Misty Knight, and you would have said, and the Daughters of the Dragon. You would have had the whole team fully formed. But hey, she was on. They had to give her and I thought they did what they could with her doing whole detective work and such. But then when it gets down to the fight scenes, she's just strong. She can take people and throw them over. Even with Luke Cage, we saw that Luke Cage is, he was able to do that fighting in prison. So this guy actually can fight. We have the martial arts experts in Daredevil and in Iron Fist. So she's kind of just there. She was just kind of just there. But that's actually a good point because they were doing such a big job of trying to keep this grounded in reality. Whereas, oh no, nobody would believe any of this stuff. Even though it's popping out like every 5 seconds. We got Inhumans and all this other type of stuff. But no, I don't believe it. I got steel hard skin. But it's just me. It's just me. Can't be that anybody else would come over here with it. But aside of that, no, I had already, I don't think I read a review. I had seen some stuff online. One person was like, oh, it's boring, this, that, and the other. So I said, let me check out the first episode. I checked out the first episode, and it was actually different because I was very satisfied with the first episode. Normally, I just watch episode after episode. Mm-hmm. I saw the first episode, and I was like, okay, cool, I'm good with this. I'll check out some more tomorrow. And I was just pleased. I was pleased all the way through. But the scene that really just sucked me in, that really just got to me, the kid, the child at heart that will never die, Danny Rand and Luke Cage are standing next to each other. Okay, he's got the fist glowing. Luke is getting ready to mix it up. I was like, okay, this is cool. Finally, I get to see these guys fight together, which I've been waiting for. And the kid inside is like, no, you old moron. That's not what's happening. This is Power Man and Iron Fist fighting. We lived long enough to see it. We survived Street Justice, and now we got the real thing. Power Man and Iron Fist. This is awesome. And it was. It was great to see the two. It was great to see the two of them. It was great to see the two of them working together, and the chemistry between the two actors is actually pretty good. So I can look forward to some more stuff on that. But even better, because I was critical when he was talking all this privilege BS, and I was like, look, come on. Danny Rand was in a freaking plane accident, grew up outside of all of these things. He's telling him about all this money. I was like, he doesn't know how any of this stuff works. He doesn't know about any of this thing. And he proved it. Because when he put the suit on to go talk to those guys, what happened? He got in trouble. He went there to go fight. So that was just meaningless at the end of the day. But they had their fight. Luke Cage got his hits in. Danny came back, hit him with the Iron Fist. And he was like, oh, okay, I guess I have to, I've got to take you seriously. And done. No more of this lingering stuff. You can see like there's a nice, good budding relationship there. I want more of that at the end of the day. If Jessica Jones has to be there, okay. The Daredevil Elektra stuff was great. That was as close as I could probably get to the comic book, unless they had just followed it along the storyboards. Where Daredevil was like, no, I'm still in love with her. I got to try to help her. Hey, you guys go. I'm still going to sit over here and try to talk. That was as close as you could actually get to the comic. And then the ending with him, it was almost like a tableau from the comic as well, with him in the bed and the nuns around him, which was out of that Born Again.
Yep.
That's 220, like 229 or 230, where they have him sitting there and they're happy he's alive because he's been through all this other type of stuff. Just really solid. Now, where you had that pet peeve with everybody, hey, there's magic all around, but it can't be real. The biggest problem I had was with Foggy and Karen.
Yes.
They were just like,
nerves.
Matt, when are you going to give this up? He's like, he's not going to give it up.
All this cool stuff, why?
He's
Why
not
would
going to
you
give it up.
any
And then
of
Foggy
that?
says, no, I brought him the suit because I thought if I brought him the suit, it was a chance for him to reject it. And I'm like, what? That's like giving cocaine to the addict. He's not going to reject this stuff.
Yeah.
No, this is the path this guy is on. And that is pretty divergent from the comic altogether, because these guys, they're supposed to be supportive at this point. And they're like, no, this, that, and the other. He's out here helping people. This is the path that he's on. He does the lawyer stuff, but he also does the Daredevil stuff. And you would think Foggy, if Karen, okay, maybe I can understand, because I never liked her character in the comic. But Foggy is over there like, no, Matt, you need to stop. This is an addiction. And I'm like, that's when you start getting too, the realism aspect that they're going for. Like, this is some sort of addiction for him. And it's not. That this is straight heroism. And they're literally, when they do that, they're also trying to they're shaving off, the heroism part. They're like shaving side, whittling it down to the point. I'm like, what for? How many times has he acquitted himself as being so heroic, so noble? He, without a doubt, if Iron Man is the glue to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Daredevil's the glue to what we see on Netflix. And the two people who should be in his corner are consistently telling him, stop doing this, Matt. Forget about all these people who need help, and you can help them. Forget that. Just be an attorney over here, and there's no legitimate reason for them doing that. But other than that, I was very, very pleased. I love the fact they killed off Sigourney Weaver, because I was like, there's no way I could ever believe she's the big villain on this. I love they just killed her off. Lodi Young really acquits herself very well as Elektra. I was more entertained than I expected. More entertained than I expected. Good job, Defenders. Very good job.
So I gotta say, unlike, I'm not gonna go out and knock one of my brothers here, but it was a fantastic show. Far better than I expected. Especially after the first episode, which I thought was incredibly slow. Of course, you're trying to set everything up. I did like the fight when they first met Elektra. You didn't know sure who was going on initially. They're down there in I think in some basement or something like that. They were fighting the guy.
Catacombs.
So that was pretty good. But the key thing here, the one huge redeeming quality of this whole damn show, Danny Rand has finally learned how to really kick ass using Kung Fu. Am I right? I mean, now it looks so dynamic, so natural. Of course, it doesn't seem up to the level of Daredevil, but on his own, it looks much better. Now you can kind of believe this guy is kind of the Iron Fist. You know what I'm trying to say? I mean, did we not feel that way? Because previously you're like his.
I need a costume.
Well,
That's
his
it.
kung fu
I need a
was like
costume.
it just felt real
Outfit
choppy.
would be great,
Yeah.
but I mean, look, you
It was much.
can't
more-
give somebody, you got 3 weeks to train.
Okay, but I'm just saying it looked much better now.
Yes,
right?
it looks
Alright,
much
so
better
we-
because he had more
Mhm.
training
He had
time.
more training. So
And
it
for
was-
Iron Fist 2, he's going to have more training time. They'll be able to do more dynamic
I
stuff
got
with him.
that, but I'm just saying. I think that was a big thing. I mean, they really should have focused on that. But the story overall was a pretty good story. I like the fact that you had all elements of the hand come together. You see the 5 fingers, I guess, of the hand, and what happens to them, and the end result, what they were really looking for at the very end. That kind of threw me off. I was like, whoa, that's why they were digging this gigantic hole all this time. You know, I guess we can give spoilers now because if you haven't watched it, too bad. You know, it was a dragon, right? You know, the dragon. They needed a dragon to the substance from the dragon to continue to be
Immortal.
long-lived or immortal. You know, and I thought that was pretty interesting. And what did they end up using? They end up using the hand himself. You know, to help him get it. You know, Danny Rand, of course, because he's so impulsive, he doesn't know who his talents are. And again, that to me is one of the problems that I have with the show. How do you become the Iron Fist and you can't control your emotions, you can barely control your discipline. But they've factored that into the show, and I think that is much better.
Well, they're gonna have to work on that because I can give you that the first season, and some more of it here because he's still, if you want to, he's still growing up. But we go on the second season and it's still this, it starts to become very discordant because he's supposed to be coming from Kunlun, where pretty much you think these guys are so peaceful they can walk on air, at the end of the
They're
day.
hardcore, I mean, and that's the problem I have. I mean, I don't know. For me, Danny Rand is always like, a funny guy, but he's a kick-ass fighter. Not someone who is so impulsive and so, But look, that doesn't take away from the show. The show was really good. The dynamics between the different characters were great. I like Jessica Jones.
I liked her in this. I liked her in this thing. I
think she
missed her.
brings
I missed her in this, in not seeing her for such a long time.
Exactly.
It was interesting seeing her again and then saying maybe we just could have just been. No, I mean not the hand stuff, but they could do another series of her. I think it shows how much was lacking in the first one, where they just dealt with one villain instead of trying to expand her story. And I think that when you see like Daredevil's second season, when they expanded and adding,
Right.
you don't have to all be heroic or villainous characters. You can just add some more.
Well, she's supposed to have Typhoid Mary as a villain for season 2,
yeah?
which is
Yeah.
a Daredevil villain.
Stealing
Daredevil's supposed to have Sin Eater. They didn't say
yeah?
anything about Bullseye yet.
I
so
thought Bullseye was supposed to be.
Wow.
Bullseye might end up showing up on the Punisher. I don't know because the Punisher has his own thing coming
yeah.
out. So
Bullseye, but
Switching
no.
partners is kind of getting on my nerves.
some of it works.
Well, it
I
works.
think-
Some of it works like when you had because the Kingpin was a Spider-Man villain, but he worked much better as a Daredevil
Yeah.
villain under Frank Miller. I mean, but you're right. They could have there's stuff. Well, with Jessica Jones's first season, the story was over after episode 4. It should have really you caught the Purple Man.
Yeah.
That would have been fine if if you had gone a different route. Okay, you could have introduced another one, and she was spending her time getting to the big guy. These were just the minor leaguers she was taking down, but they were doing less of a comic book and more of a social commentary on a whole bunch of other stuff, and so it can drag like that. But they'll have another shot at it, and we'll get to see what they do with the second time around. But I'm looking forward to seeing everything. I mean, Luke Cage is pretty much the same thing. Luke Cage, about episode 9, they could have pretty much shut that whole thing down.
I was like,
Well,
They could have shut that. They could have shut that whole
Who was
thing
that
down.
villain? The second villain?
Yeah.
Was it
Didn't
Cotton?
like
Not
him.
Cottonmouth. Who was the other one?
Hammerhead? No, what was his name?
It was just too much of that villain who was his supposed brother or something like that. But
Yeah, that was just.
Yeah.
It didn't ruin it for me, but at that point it was like, okay, you spent all of that time and investment in Cottonmouth to take him out, and he was the more interesting of the two. You traded the guy who was a more substantive villain for the cartoon villain, not even a comic book villain,
Yeah.
for the cartoon villain. You traded it for him. I mean, to the point I can't even remember his comic name. It was the Constrictor or not. I just can't remember, and it wasn't the Constrictor. But hey,
well, they're also struggling with what's the name? Was it Luke Cage has bagged too many women on the show?
Man, tell me about it.
He
man.
was like-
but everybody's
He's
cool
bagged-
with it.
He's bagged too many
Way
people.
too many women.
And it's like
It's only 3.
Everyone.
Was that
wanna-
all? And the last one left is Karen, right?
Look, he could have
That's
no.
it.
He could have got Colleen. Possibly that could happen
Yeah,
too.
I'm just-
How's that gonna happen?
At
She's
this
with Danny.
rate,
At the rate he's going, he's a smooth
I
operator,
can't deal
man.
with that.
He's like
We
that guy from the
need
70s show,
Misty
Valderrama
and Danny
or-
together.
That's not happening,
Why
unfortunately.
not?
Because she was with Luke. And now that she's with Luke,
No.
that put her off to the side.
Ooh,
She's not going to get anything
No,
now.
Misty
She's going to
Knight.
be flopping around the
Nah,
show
she's
and
not.
nothing's going to happen.
She's
for
not
her.
flopping. Misty
Oh,
Knight
she's
is bionic.
oh yeah.
Misty Knight is bionic. She's
I like
not
the fact
flopping.
that they.
Not,
put the-
I don't mean that in a negative way. But
No, look, Luke Cage. This could be my word for the show. Luke Cage acquits himself well in terms of being a ladies' man. You know, the problem is that look, we know what's supposed to happen in the comic. They decided not to go with that. They didn't give Luke Cage like peripheral. And mind you, we can't even talk about the other women he had in Jessica Jones. These was just like women over here. Like, oh, there was more women.
yeah.
Okay, so Luke Cage gets his. I don't have any issue with that.
I don't have an issue with that, but I'm
I
just
have
saying.
an issue that he got
could've-
Misty Knight, and
Yeah.
that's Danny's girl. There's where I have the
and then
damn
you knew
issue.
that you wouldn't give him Night Nurse. If you knew you could give him Night
I don't
Nurse,
think they knew they were
they
gonna do
knew
that.
it. Come on, they already. What you saying?
yeah.
It's not like a monthly TV show where they're like getting TV
Right,
where
you're right,
people
you're right.
writing in. They're like, this is the plan.
That's right.
But you know, of all the relationships,
And
I
she
think-
had already had a taste of Daredevil. Or did we forget that?
Did she have a taste or just a kiss?
No.
Wait a second. Who? Miss
Night Nurse?
Night Nurse.
Oh, Night Nurse. Yeah, Night Nurse. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Lord. There's a
Yeah, play
kiss and
together.
cut. That's what happens on soap operas. You start mixing it up. That's why we can put Danny and Misty back together.
And Jessica Jones, she wants another taste. She was like, yeah, maybe we can get some coffee. And he looks at her like, huh?
I know the coffee.
Well, that's the other argument people have when I would say the Daughters of the Dragon. They were like, no, we have this interracial relationship in the baby between Jessica Jones and Luke Cage.
You already
And
had
it's
the interracial relationship between
yes.
Danny and Misty
There you
Knight.
go. So
You
it's
bunch
like,
of morons.
you're like, but no, the baby, the interracial baby, that's what's important. It's like, look,
Why?
they're not even following that. Who knows if that's going to be a part of this story?
But I mean,
and what's going to happen to Night Nurse? Night Nurse is going to be kicked to the side. I don't know about that.
What do you think about Night Nurse? And how do you think she acquitted herself in this series? I thought she did pretty good. I mean, she's the glue that holds them all.
I don't know the glue.
Well, you need to talk to this. I got somebody. You need to talk to this guy. I got someone for you to meet, Luke. Luke, you got to meet this guy. Like, oh, come on.
Come on,
You
but she's in all of them, and she brings them together. You know what I'm trying to
Well,
say?
that was like
She's
Nick.
a
That was like
reasonable-
Nick. That was like Nick Fury's role. You know.
Yeah.
You know, that was, and that's more for us as viewers. You know, that allows us to, you know, okay,
Right.
this is how we thread it. This is how, you know, we're gonna thread everybody together. But, I mean, hey, I wouldn't have any problem. I wouldn't have any problem with them sliding, you know, clear out. So Danny, so we could actually get some stuff going on between Jessica Jones and Luke Cage.
What?
If
Come
you give me
on.
Misty and Danny, but it's just too convoluted now.
You got to now. Night Nurse.
It's
if
like
he went Night
90210
Nurse
now.
and
You
Night-
start
But-
doing that
But
stuff.
Night Nurse is so even kill. Where we have Jessica volatile, we're gonna leave that alone there. You know what I'm trying to say? And I
That's
just don't
Holly
see.
right
I don't.
there,
She's
man.
they're both, but I'm just saying. I just don't see the
not
relationship
letting that.
between Misty and Danny. I mean, it just seems that they're
I don't see it because she looks like she could be his mom. And, you know,
I
with
wouldn't
some of
say
these-
mom. I wouldn't say anything like that. I'm
Milf?
just saying.
Milf.
I just don't see the
Oh, Milf.
a little different. I like the Misty that they have here. She's fine in the role that she's doing. But as
But
Danny's
she doesn't
companion-
believe anything either. All right, you got to give this up because it's gonna be over your heads, and 3 million cops. Like all those cops are gonna die if they come into the scene. So I don't even know why you're threatening them with cops. You know that it's not gonna work. She just keeps threatening them with nothing.
Were you happy when she got her arm cut off?
Yes.
But her arm was hurting Luke Cage's, wasn't she?
She
hurt?
had like a shoulder wound. Or
I was like, are
something.
they gonna do it now? Like, no, let's pull it back. Then they're like, oh, let's just.
That's when I find out. That's where being a comic book fan becomes to the point like, hey, I don't know, this comic book fan and your religious beliefs are kind of diametrically opposed. Because you're supposed to be nice to people,
Yeah.
and then you're like, no.
Cut
In the
that
comic,
hand
she doesn't
off.
only has one arm and it's bionic. You need to lose that arm, and then when she arm gets cut, I'm like, yeah. No.
But I
like,
don't want
I
the-
shouldn't be happy
I-
about this.
I don't want the later big diesel shoulder thing that you see a lot of
Yeah.
girls wearing, and you notice like before it was bionic, but you didn't know it.
It was
So
just an
sometimes
arm. It was
you
just an
should-
arm.
Yeah, you get punched with it, and you're like, oh, sweat. You're like knocking someone out. But then at the same time, I think there's an interesting Daughters of the Dragon story in the black and whites where Misty's fighting this karate guy, and she doesn't use the arm. They clearly show each panel she's using the other arm, beating the guy to hell. And then when she fights the karate master and the guy's too much, she uses the bionic arm to hurt him. But then he comes back, and then Colleen comes. But that's what do interesting stuff. Don't show it like her walking around in the police office and brings the bionic arm in.
Did
I'm
you
like,
see the pictures with the arm?
yeah, I don't.
Yeah, that looks
that's
horrible.
Terrible.
But
Come
you s-
on.
There's one interesting thing though. Do you think that they're going to do Daughters of the Dragon now? I mean, basically.
No, they're not gonna do it.
I don't know. I mean, look, right now the relationship between Luke Cage
We're
and
not
Danny
getting
Rand
it.
seem pretty good, right? That's one. And number two, we see that she's basically off the force now. So what are they going to do? You know what I'm trying to say? She has to. I don't see her as a.
No,
hero.
well, see, if they didn't do Jessica Jones, then you'd have room for that because
Yes,
Daughters
that's
of the
what I'm
Dragon are
saying.
what? Detectives. They have their own
Right.
detective agency, but you
Yeah.
have
Got
Jessica
it, got it.
Jones. So then we have this redundancy going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, look, I know there are a lot of people out there who like Jessica Jones. She's just an ill fit for this
I
right
don't
here.
know.
You bring
It
everybody
worked-
else
I
in.
think it
She
worked.
works
I've been
fine.
working better since. I mean, for
It works good if you. It
characterization.
works good if you sideline the other. If you sideline, the Daughters of the Dragon.
I mean, we were stuck with it though. They already
Right.
started with it, and I complain online just like you're saying that all the time. But then we have Christine Ritter in there, and and it's like, man, she's good. She's good on film. So that's the only problem.
That's a nice way to put it, Pete.
That's
Okay.
it.
She's good on film. Girls
So
on
What's
film.
wrong with that?
Overall, we like the show.
It's
We say
film.
go
They're
watch
film.
it.
Girls
It's not-
on film.
So we all liked it, right?
Girls on
I
film.
told
And especially, what's her name? Elodie Young, off the hook, star of the show.
Yep.
Steals it,
Who?
basically.
Oh, yeah, Electra. Yeah,
Electra.
That's the thing. She's someone that you would probably, follow down a rabbit hole. She'd lead you down to hell, and go off the path. And that's what you have to have. Someone that.
But you're going off the path to bring her back to the path like Matt did.
But
I'm bringing you
don't
back,
know-
baby.
You don't know if you're gonna get
It's
on the
not gonna
path with her
work.
though.
It's not
That's
gonna
the
work.
same within the Frank Miller stories. You didn't know where you were going.
With her.
you
Exactly.
know.
Well, Matt seemed to always, maybe maybe it's his Catholic faith, but Matt always seemed to be very confident that he could bring her back. He could bring her back to the path if he, just get a chance to talk to her enough time, and he could bring her back. That was what ended up purging her in that. It was a great story. It was a great story. All hell is breaking loose. And Stone from the Chase is telling him, "What are you doing, man? I need you to watch my back. I'm impervious to any attack unless oh, great, now I'm hit. Thanks, Daredevil." He's over here trying to resurrect her. He's like, "No, I'm trying to bring her back. I'm bringing her back." And this outpouring of love on his part, Stone is getting ready to kill her, and he's like, "No." He was like, "My goodness," he purged her. He was like, "I don't know how the hell this guy did it," but this outpouring of love made her just give up all the hate and the anger and all that darkness that was inside of her. She's like, she's clean. I'm weary. He resurrects her. And you're like, you take on the whole stuff with the Chase, then I can just go and finally retire in death. That was a great story. I don't know. It's a tough one to pull off with all the stuff that they wanted to do with the Defenders. Something more that you would have to just do with the Daredevil storyline. They decided to do otherwise, but I think they got as close as they could with what we got with the Defenders, and it was still very, very good. Very, very good at the end of the day.
Well, I think they could go into some of the stories that the way Frank broke out the Elektra saga. Like you could do some more stuff with just her, but then you have to throw in all these other guys just because you don't want to do nobodies. Like you can't. I would say they could try to do Elektra Assassin, but then they'd be like, we gotta add in all these, we gotta add Foggy and all these other people, and it's like,
Because Electra Assassin is really like 4 episodes at the end of the day, and these
you
guys
have all the stuff before you got the saga, you got a
But you don't
whole
want to get
beginning.
bogged down with all that stuff. I kind of agree, shockingly, with
Bogged down with
Pat.
what?
You want to keep
Well, the
it
more they
simple,
developed in the
easier,
comics, the more
to
they
point.
developed Elektra as this like. If you had Elektra Assassin, you would wonder like, how the heck can Daredevil even fight her? She can like freaking jump into people's minds and stuff. So the more they developed her with all this ninjutsu and the mysticism of
Way
it,
too much.
it seemed like well, what the heck did training that he get just to jump around buildings and have a
No.
radar sense?
But
If
you
you
know,
look
she
at
holds
what's the
back.
name,
She
you
holds
looking-
back with him.
If you look at
No, it wasn't supposed to be he holds back with him. He was supposed to be on equal footing. He received the same sort of training.
I don't know. I got
Well,
the-
he had it in Elektra.
He got trained by Stick.
Right. but I'm
Yeah, he
saying
got that
afterwards.
from who's that? In what's it? Elektra Lives Again. You see that he had that same ability to fight that stuff. So
Yeah.
he wouldn't be able to. She wouldn't be able to just say because they had to fight with a guy that's trying to mess with Matt Murdock and he's like, oh, you trained with Stick. So they had that moment. So he's got that stuff too.
Right, but here, even in this episode, when you see them fighting together at the very end, she's strong enough to kick all their butts. Remember?
But that's more inconsistency on part of the show because there's parts where she's fighting with Luke Cage,
Yeah.
and she should have been smacking him around, and
but-
they're going toe to toe with.
But it only,
with
I agree with you, but it only works if you're saying she really doesn't want to hurt him.
Luke
You know?
Cage or Matt
No,
Murdock?
Matt Murdock.
That works with Matt Murdock. It doesn't work with Luke Cage.
No, but it makes sense. She's kicking ass Luke Cage, but I'm saying then she starts fighting Matt Murdock, and she's of two minds. She doesn't really want to kill him, and so that's why she doesn't go full out because she's strong. If you can knock out Luke Cage, if you can knock out Jessica Jones, you should be able to knock out
Yeah.
Daredevil, right? If you catch
Yeah,
him.
but it goes.
Can't knock
different
out the
from-
devil from Hell's Kitchen.
But
Sorry,
it
If you
goes
catch
different
him, yes,
from.
he doesn't have super strength. She does.
he's the devil from Hell's Kitchen, man. Sorry.
All right. So, anything else about this
I
episode,
think
gentlemen?
we're done.
Awesome.
Go check it out. This is one of the best Netflix shows they've come out to.
If you don't
Oh
see
my
it,
gosh.
I don't want to see you anymore.
Spin rack.